I don't want to like I'm wearing a adorable little white mask. I went to watch Barbie and Oppenheimer, which are two polar opposite movies, one being about a depressing war and another one being a Barbie movie about Barbie and her friends. With the lunch break in between because I'm not going to sit in the movie theater for hours. But then I want to numb my pain with Barbie. So you're probably aware of the fact that the Barbenheimer trend has been taken over the internet. So much that the movie theater that we've been having trends of them together, all because they come out on the same day, July 21st. And that's just a joke of it. So to put that in perspective, Oppenheimer is roughly 3 hours long, while Barbie clocks in at roughly an hour and 54 minutes, which together creates roughly 5 hours of Barbenheimer madness. Both of the films have been getting great reviews so far as of recording this, so I guess those film buffs that were saying Oppenheimer would be the best film of the year weren't that off. But I just find it hilarious that this trend has gotten so big that the actors have been interviewed about it, and they're trying so hard not to be biased about their movie while also trying to sound trendy.
I mean, I'll be going to see Barbie 100%. I can't wait to see it. I think it's just great for the industry and for audiences that we have two amazing films by amazing filmmakers coming out on the same day. And yeah, you spend the whole day in the cinema. What's better than that?
Yeah, I could totally see Cillian Murphy watching Barbie. What a Sigma male move. But yeah, now we're gonna do this, and what better way to do it than with my grandparents. So yeah, we went to my grandma's house, and we were gonna see Oppenheimer at 9:30 in the morning. I got out of bed, and my grandma has Fox News playing all day on 4K TV, and we're literally trying to politicize it. And also, apparently lawmakers are trying to follow the trend. For those of you wondering, I'm a Barbenheimer. It's not even English, bro. What the hell? Anyways, let's go to Oppenheimer and traumatize yourselves. This should be interesting because I never watch a war drama normally. But if it's for the sake of Barbenheimer, I'd love to see Christopher Nolan directed sex. So when we got to the movie theater, you could immediately tell who was watching Barbie because people were wearing bright pink crap for this movie. But I was going into the 3-hour Christopher Nolan movie, thank you very much. This movie stars Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer, Robert Downey Jr., and Florence Pugh, just in with you, and a bunch of other A-list actors. So a bit of a spoiler warning ahead. I mean, you could technically read all this stuff on Wikipedia, but it's obviously the execution and stuff they'd be seeing it for. So you can go over to the next part by clicking on the timestamp in the description if you don't want the movie spoiled for you. Alright. Okay, let's go. So basically, the movie is just Cillian Murphy staring dramatically at camera for 3 hours. For real though, the movie starts with Oppenheimer being a student at university or something, and he has, I guess, nightmares with his creation. Because they usually go into his head a bit, which is cool. Eventually, the man's work starts to be recognized because he's a nerd, so this guy Strauss, played by Robert Downey Jr., gives him an office, where Albert Einstein actually is. It's a pretty tedious process to make the bomb, and there's a lot of filler stuff that, to be honest, I kind of forget, so I'll just touch on the highlights. There's lots of meetings and lessons taught by Oppenheimer and stuff, because this movie is very dialogue heavy. Oppenheimer even has an affair, which is a later raunchy sex scene with full frontal nudity to show how he's with women or something. But what I like about this film is it hops between time frames. It makes it hard to keep track of, but Oppenheimer from the future is being asked questions and hop between the different movie times, with some scenes even being shot in black and white. There's lots of historical stuff happening in between, like tests happening with bombs and Los Alamos, but again, I don't want to sort through my head to explain all this stuff. The movie gets more and more intense as a big test draws nearer. It's very intense, and once the explosion goes off, it's really incredible to see. It goes almost in slow motion at first, but then it jump scares you with a loud boom noise. Not too long later, the bomb was dropped over Hiroshima, and we all know how that went. It was portrayed absolutely fantastically. As soon as Truman announced that Oppenheimer had to address in front of a cheering crowd of people, and Oppenheimer's trauma is shown like a nuclear bomb. There's this shaking in the background while he's talking, and he imagines the bomb going off in this intense way in the room he's talking in. We see skin peeling off and crap. I have absolutely no idea how they were able to pull this off with no CGI, but it was incredible. One moment you see someone cheering, and the next you see someone crying, and there was even a guy throwing up before much has happened. I'd like to call this scene a masterpiece. It was just so well done, and there was like an hour of Oppenheimer trying to convince people he wasn't communist or something. And honestly, I just needed to piss by then, so I'll skip over that. And the thing was long, but it was great. We all enjoyed it, and I was expecting it to be depressing, and it kind of was, but in a way that doesn't bring you into deep sorrow, at least for me, but more leads you through how it really went. Overall, I'd rate it an 8 out of 10. Cillian Murphy did a great job at Oppenheimer, and it was an overall great film. Next, we went out and got a pretzel and stuff, and then we went into Barbie. Robbie as Barbie, and Ryan Gosling as Ken. A year ago, this film looked like a total bright pink joke. It was one of those where it was like, what the hell? But as more trailers started coming out and stuff, started to actually make some sense and seem like an actual movie. But then whoever is in charge of advertising went absolutely insane. We saw like 90% of the movie from the constant commercials alone. But I was surprised to see that it gotten 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and all the critics were saying that it was a great film with a great message. And this gave me high hopes. And when the movie started, it was actually pretty funny. There were a lot of Barbie-related jokes, such as her floating down at her house, and I did think that had a good start, because Barbie's routine is really going well. But then after her routine starts not going well, she suddenly starts thinking about death and stuff, and her feet get flat, and for the first time ever, she isn't happy all the time. I think this is immediately a clever route to go, and it'd make a good story. She goes to Weird Barbie, and then she has to go to the real world because something's happening with the little girl who's playing with her. Then, of course, Ken comes with her. And I also think this part where they go into the real world is pretty funny at sometimes, and Barbie learning the truth about the world is a good idea. There's an awkward emotion aspect that critics have been talking about, especially whenever she starts talking to the girl. But then after that is where I think the movie started to go downhill, because they had started to tell the Mattel CEO about it, which seemed like an interesting way to go, but then the CEO, who's played by Will Ferrell, ends up adding nearly nothing to the plot. It's just Will Ferrell for the sake of Will Ferrell, which sort of takes away the deduction of comedy and plot that they were going in, and it kind of just felt like a cartoony, stupid crap whenever they were in it. Anyways, it turns out that the girl's mom was actually trying to mess up Barbie's to cope with stuff, and then they end up going to Barbie Land after real life Barbie, when it turns out the Kens have taken over. And then they start discussing how women don't have it well in this world, which is okay. But then the rest of it just wasn't right, and it sort of felt like a men-hating feminist movie by that point. Because it was. In the end, people kind of got equal, and they learned their purpose and stuff, and Barbie became human, which is fine, I guess. It did have a clumpy message because the whole don't let men push you around thing is better for like 7-year-olds, but this movie is PG-13. So I don't really know who they were aiming for here. It was a goofy movie, even if it didn't go in the direction it should have. I think they should have focused more on the non-human thing that they were discussing, which sort of mixed with the woman stuff. But it was too overwritten by it, which is weird because the main problem with Barbie isn't that women are equal, more that it has unrealistic feminine ideals, and I think that the dolls learned that they're more than just roles would have felt stronger if they hadn't taken that lesson out in the clumpy feminist way that they did. At the end of the day, it was kind of enjoyable, even if I didn't get what was so good about it. There's a lot of opportunity missed here that I think they could have taken advantage of instead of just making it essentially a crash grab. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. By the end of the day, my head hurt, my eyes hurt, and I was belching, so I guess I had fun. Weirdly, we ended up liking Oppenheimer better. Oh yeah, I didn't like care for the Barbie movie that the Barbie movie is great, and it confirmed that they were in fact very different from each other. So did it change my life? No, I'm actually straight up clickbaiting you, but it was cool. I have no idea what else to say. Let me know if you like this format because I could do it more. I want to use my own voice more, even though I do enjoy using text-to-speech once in a while to expect more of a mix. Anyways, see you soon.